This is an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder.
One of the most naturally funniest women on the planet, actress Cloris Leachman, who won multiple awards, including an Oscar and 9 Emmys, died on January 26 at the age of 94. She was a marvelous human being, in addition to being a fine actress. Whenever someone asks me, who is the celebrity you most enjoy talking to, it is without a doubt Cloris Leachman. She's also the first chapter in my book. Here's a portion of the 1-hour conversation I had with Cloris, which ironically was live on the radio 16 years to the day before her death. A conversation from January 26, 2005. With all the things that you've done, and it seems to be everyone in your family is just multifaceted and multi-talented. You're talking about yourself playing the piano. What is your passion? What do you get the biggest kick from?
Oh, I guess just around the table. When we have dinner or breakfast together, we're so hilarious. I mean, just the funniest. I've just been sick that people can't really see the fun. Oh, my God. Brilliant humor. You just beg for mercy.
Laughter, I take it, is very, very important for you.
Oh, yes. Very, very important. Very crucial.
Now, you originally came from Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Wrong.
Wrong?
No, I was born and grew up in Des Moines, actually outside of Des Moines in the country.
Okay.
And I went to Northwestern, so that's where I got into the Illinois, Miss Chicago part.
Okay, now, but you did enter a pageant?
No, I did not enter the pageant. I don't mean to make you wrong here, but...
Okay, correct me. Go ahead.
Somebody who who worked for an ad agency in Chicago would come out to Northwestern University if he needed somebody to pose for an ad that they were doing. So they'd come out there, and I did a few of them with them. And then apparently they were having the Miss WGN contest, and so he put my picture in the contest, and I didn't even know about it until I came home one night very late and found this telegram saying, congratulations, you're one of 12 finalists in 20 contests around the city, and I was Miss WGN, and so I was supposed to be there that next night at 7 p.m. with talent. It said, please bring talent. I had to pack up my talent, and an evening gown and a bathing suit. Well, I just put it away and went to bed. I had no intention of doing anything like that. That's not what I do or wanted to do. The next afternoon, he called and said he'd drive me down there. I said, no, I'm not going. It was too ridiculous. Well, he insisted, and a woman I was staying with in Evanston, Illinois, that summer, where I was working there, she said, oh, you have to go. She was just like Blondie in Dagwood.
Right.
Blondie. So they both talked me into it, and I went down there laughing all the way, just thinking it was hilarious. Anyway, I won this darn thing. I'd played the piano a little bit, and I'd danced a little bit and sang a little bit, and what else do you want me to do? And they said, well, take your hair down. I hadn't even washed my hair. It was up in a pin, like in the movies where you take off your glasses and let your hair down with one pin. But it had curled itself, and it just fell around my shoulders. And they said, well, congratulations, you're Miss WGN. I just laughed so hard I had to be careful. They were getting their feelings hurt, so I got serious, and somebody said, what will you do on Friday night if you win Miss Chicago? What Friday night? What Miss? I didn't know anything about it. So I ran out the next day and took a piano lesson and bought a new bathing suit. Showed up Friday, and they showed us the figure 8. We had to walk, and they said it's very sedate, and it's at this hall, very nice. And I wasn't even a state. I mean, there's a Miss Illinois and a Miss Iowa and a Miss, all of those. So anyway, I stayed while they all went to dinner, and I walked this figure 8 about 100 times. Just to get used to it, really. So now that the very last part of that, they couldn't decide among 3 of us. And so they said, will you say something? It was very casual in those days. And so the first girl was tongue-tied, and the next girl lisped. And I got up. I didn't know what to say, but I said, well, I'm not even from here. I'm from Iowa. There was a Miss Iowa. There was a Miss Illinois. And they just put this city, Miss Chicago. I was the only city in the whole thing. Isn't that funny? Well, anyway, here I was. So I said, but my grandmother always said, and I put my finger out crooked, and I said, you get in there and bring home the bacon. And they, congratulations, you're Miss Chicago. Oh, my God. And that meant I was on to Miss America contest. So I called my mother. I said, you better get here because this is getting serious. So she flew in with me, and then we went to Atlantic City together. And then my father came the last day, and I was one of the finalists. I won a $1,000 scholarship. And he gave me $60 to go to New York for 3 days from Atlantic City, and I stayed 8 years.
And had you ever done any pageant before that?
Never, no.
None.
My legs are too short.
The role that a lot of people remember you best for, I guess, would be the role you played on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, where you played Phyllis. Mm-hmm. How did that role come to you, Phyllis Lindstrom?
Well, you can read Mary's book, her autobiography that she wrote several years ago, many years ago, but I read it and remembered. I hadn't thought about it all those years, and so from what she said, it was all true. I just don't quite remember exactly, but I'll tell you. I went in there, and apparently I said, who's the big cheese here, or who can make decisions, or who's the big deal? And they pointed to this man. I went over apparently and sat on his lap. I remember doing that. That's stupid. Well, it was Jim Brooks.
The same director who did Spanglish.
Yeah,
right.
And he wrote it. So he's a genius, and I love him so. I really do. He is a genius.
How much of Cloris is in Phyllis, or vice versa?
I don't know. I think Phyllis was trying awfully hard to be the best at everything, every department. You know, a whore in the bedroom, a chef in the kitchen, a chauffeur with the kids, and the psychologist, and everything you're supposed to be. To be the complete woman, and was really insufferable, therefore.
That was a very long run on that show. When you first signed up on that show, and it's not the first television series you did, when you first signed up on the show, did you get a feeling that, this was a hit?
I think it took a year for it to take off. I think they were in trouble for the first year. I don't think it was a big hit instantly from what I hear. I didn't pay too much attention, but that's what I've been told. But
the writing certainly was there, wasn't it?
Oh, we had a wonderful time, and I never questioned it. I didn't expect that it wouldn't keep going.
That was just a snippet of a conversation I had with Cloris Leachman. There's more, but I wanted to set it up a little bit first. After a commercial break, I came back and continued to talk with Cloris. Now, since I was in the studio and she was in California, I could turn my microphone on and off when she was speaking. At the time, I had a massive cold when I spoke to her, so I kept turning off my mic to cough, especially because she kept making me laugh. At this point, which you'll now hear, we ended up in a giggle fit. I almost coughed up a lung.
We are talking with actress Cloris Leachman. She is an Academy Award winner and also a multiple Emmy Award winner. And Cloris, just how many Emmys do you have?
Well, I guess I have a record 8.
Wow.
8 Emmys. 4, and I tied when I had 6 Emmys. 5 of them were for different roles, and I was tied with Sir Laurence Olivier for the same amount. But he was kind enough to die so that he wouldn't, be winning all the time. Thoughtful enough. Poor dear man. Then I went on, now I have 8. Mary Tyler Moore was... It was so funny. She said, you have 8 Emmys? I said, yeah. She said, I thought you had 7. I said, no, I have 8. You have 8 Emmys? Yeah. She said, well, I thought I had the most. I said, I don't know. I have 8. It was a lovely moment for me, I must say. Very exciting.
I'm just getting over that Laurence Olivier line.
I know it. Oh, isn't that funny? Yuri.
Where do you keep them all?
Well, they always just sort of by default end up somewhere. I have what I call Leachman's Folly. I sold my beautiful, wonderful house. It was kind of a country house, a one-story country house in Mandeville Canyon in the woods, magical woods. I had made it just perfect, a lot of character and beautiful. But the first thing I looked at was a condo, and it turned out to be I bought it instantly, and there's a loft over the dining room, and I built a counter there, because you can look out. There are 2-story windows in this 2-story condo. So you can look out from the loft outside of these beautiful windows to this wonderful hundreds and hundreds of acres of eucalyptus trees. So that counter became where somebody put all these Emmys and the Academy Award, and I have a Golden Globe and other things. They're all there. And they look nice there. It's sort of stupid, but it makes a nice place for them. That's kind of a dumb answer, isn't it?
No, it's not. No, they have to go somewhere, right?
That's exactly right. They have to go.
And
what's that story about this man who was having an affair with this guy's wife, and they're in the bedroom, and just suddenly he says, "What's that?" She says, "Oh my God, my husband's coming." He said, "Oh my God, where's the window?" She said, "There isn't one." He says, "Where would you like one?"
It seems to be, looking over your resume and the career you've had, that there's nothing you can't do. Has there been a situation where there was a role you wanted and somebody said no?
Oh, sure. This is a bad, mean story. It's a very mean story, but it is funny. I shouldn't tell it. But
oh, go ahead.
Care. She wouldn't care.
Okay.
I love to dance more than life itself. I think I was one of the best dancers in high school, and it was such fun. So now they're doing, years ago, Queen of the Stardust Ballroom on television. It had been on the stage, and they were doing it on television. Well, of course, I wanted to play that more than anything. So I called the producers, which I'd never done before, but I said, "I'd love to play this part." They said, "Oh, no, Cloris, you're not right for it." I said, "But I could be. You haven't seen me. Well, let me come in and show you. Could I just..." No, you're not right for it." "Oh, please, let me come. Come on, you guys, and let me do..." No, you're not right for it. They said, "We want somebody whose legs rub together." I said, "You already got Maureen?" And they said, "Yes." They had hired Maureen Staples. Isn't that awful? No, but they wouldn't even see me about it. Isn't that too bad? I always wanted to do that. Then I couldn't do Peter Pan because Mary Martin already did that. So
right.
Those are my two heartbreakers.
In chronological order, the last picture show came out in 1971. Mm-hmm. But when did you shoot it? In other words, had you started shooting it before you started on Mary Tyler Moore Show?
I did the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and then on the break, I did that movie. I did the last picture show. Because
it's also very unusual. I mean, you got the Academy Award for the last picture show. Mm-hmm. And usually people always try to make a separation. Certainly the studios do, or the studio heads do. They try to make a separation between people who do television and people who do film.
Mm-hmm. And well, in those days, absolutely, it was very unusual.
And here comes this woman who just waltzes into a movie, gets an Academy Award, goes back to the television show. It was very unusual. You don't hear very many people doing that.
Well, they thank God they're softening about all that. And on Broadway now, it's almost as if you have to be a television name before you can do Broadway. And it used to be, impossible. There was almost no crossover at all. There is in England that people are out on the road all the time and on the stage all the time, and then come and do films in England. But America's very separated for the most part.
What was it like to step away from the ensemble cast of the Mary Tyler Moore Show and step into the forefront in your own spin-off
Well,
as
that's
Phyllis?
A good question. It's very tricky. You can't take a character out of an ensemble like that and expect that it'll just be like cake, because the person is identified by the other people around the person. That's who tells you what you are, how they react to you, in other words. You create each other by the way you react to each other a lot of the times. So it was tricky, and I think being the sort of pain in the neck that Phyllis was created to be, and now playing the lead on my own series as Phyllis, it was tricky to make her likable and lovable as the heroine and still have the irritating, funny stuff that her personality on the Mary Tyler Moore Show had. Thank God I'm not a writer and didn't have that. I didn't have to trouble my pretty head about it. But one week, I'd have to think, Jesus, how far are we going? How far to lean into something,
Another television series that you did, which I was reminded of today by someone else who said, ask her about this show. The Nut House that you did in 1989.
I love doing that. And Mel Brooks, it was his idea, and he was there a lot, and he wanted me to be Frau Blucher all over again. So what I did was, instead of having great big two front things sticking out, I made a great big high fat ass. and I also, what is it about girls are very, very good, and when they're bad, they're horrid, something like that.
Yeah.
So I made a little spit curl in the middle of my forehead, but to show that I wasn't a bad one, I was a good little girl. I'd pin it in every day. Well, the thing that went wrong there was that the man who wrote it really created it a lot. I don't know what happened to him, but he made everybody so mad, the network and Disney Studios and everything, that they finally just had enough of him. You need to shape that kind of stuff was fun doing, though, and Harvey's so darling to work with.
Harvey.
Now, are we going to have time to talk about George's book?
You know what? We had George on 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Were you able to read it?
Yeah, I just got it, so I am definitely going to do it.
It's about a 2, if you really, you don't want to put it down, and it takes about 2 days.
The book you're referring to is The Way It's Never Been Done Before, My Friendship with Marlon Brando, which is written by George Englund, who is your ex.
Well, I don't like to say that. I like to say he's my once-upon-a-time husband.
Ah, okay.
That has more of a storybook quality than somebody you blot out when you're finished with them.
Obviously, you have a very good relationship between the two of you.
Well, I don't like to have been so wrong as to have an ex. You know, God, I adore him. I'm still madly in love with him. I still fall in love with him every time I see him again. I really do. It's just an amazing chemistry and connection forever, you know.
Absolutely.
But I do hope that people will read this. He's I think, a brilliant writer. It's not like a tell-all book. Somebody said it's like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You know, it's to get inside Marlon's brain, his mind, and how deeply they were connected, and how, these stories are just rich and rare. You'll never read a mind like this, I don't think, anywhere, like Marlon's, and the things they did together, and God, it's a piece of history, really.
From the little...
Don't forget it. It's called The Way It's Never Been Done Before, because that's really the way Marlon acted. We wanted, and George produced The Ugly American, starring Marlon Brando, many years ago. So anyway, they became very deep, fast friends forever. And
the thing that, from the little I've gleaned of the book so far, the thing that I find most interesting about it is well, yes, of course, there's the story of Marlon Brando, but everyone should have a friendship like that.
Yes.
That's I think, the most important thing.
They were, yes.
Yeah.
It's very bad when he died.
Do you ever have plans to retire? Please say no.
Oh, God, you have to get a lead pipe. No, I don't. Can't imagine such a thing. But I'm not working like a chicken with my head off. It's a leisurely thing. I mean, lots of times I don't work, and I have a wonderful life. Wonderful. I wish it for anybody who would like to have a wonderful life, to be in such a lovely, to be doing wonderful stuff, with wonderful people, creative people. Sometimes I think, thank God I'm not a butcher, not to put butchers down, but to have to be cutting up dead animals with kind of real cold fingers and joints. Wouldn't that be awful? Or a plumber with my head down some, pipe. I wouldn't be good at that.
When you first started your career, did you ever dream and anticipate that this is how your career would have turned out?
Mainly, I remember thinking, I don't want to end up an old lady with nobody to love and nobody to be loved by. Just some old lady with a career. I never wanted to make that my focus, so I never thought about having a career. It's what I do that I really love and I'm good at, but it's not where my heart is.
Well, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure and a joy to have a chance to talk to you.
I hope it was interesting to people. I mean, we talked a lot about my career, but...
Oh, absolutely. And as I said, two of my favorite films, Young Frankenstein and also High Anxiety. I laugh out loud.
High Anxiety.
I laugh out loud just when you walk on the screen. Before you even say anything.
It was the drapes. The drapes. Dr. Ashley felt that color has a great deal to do with the well-being of the emotionally disturbed.
I thank you very much for being on the program with us, Cloris.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
They say that laughter is the best medicine. No word of a lie. After an hour of talking to Cloris and laughing, my cold had completely broken. Cloris was just a shining ray of sunshine. And yes, her once-upon-a-time husband's book about his friendship with Marlon Brando is an amazing read. Again, the title is The Way It's Never Been Done Before, My Friendship with Marlon Brando. You'll find an Amazon link on this week's show, which is show number 0598, if you want to check out this great read. And Stuph File Program fans, you can hear the full version of this conversation by going to our Patreon page and becoming one of the select patrons of the show. There is a much more robust version of this conversation, almost 40 minutes long, with this hysterically funny woman. Not only have I left in most of the conversation we had, but I've also left in her interaction with some of the callers. She was funny and sweet all at the same time. Just go to patreon.com/The Stuph File Program. As for Cloris, I know that living to 94 is a long time, but in the case of Cloris Leachman, it wasn't nearly long enough. She will be missed.
You've just heard an exclusive excerpt from the Stuph File Program with Peter Anthony Holder. To hear any or all of the full hour-long shows, visit thestufffile.com. Stuph is spelled S-T-U-P-H. That's thestufffile.com. A presentation of Flying Fish Communications.